Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Short kirtan.
The voice.
Okay, go ahead. Everyone.
Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Om. By Paramahansa Paripajaka Jostatara Satasisi Manas Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Sikho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Zamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Shama Veda Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. All glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious to see Guru and Karangani Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Sri Ram Ki Jai, Sri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai, Ram Lala Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaura Mani Putarale Navase Sanyavati Pashakti Desatara. Om Aganataminandasya Janadana Salakaya Chaksu Samilitanjena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Utale Sayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vansakopa Trubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Prabhinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. Today, as we know, is a very auspicious day. Do you know why it is auspicious? Why?
Because it's Sri Navami today.
Yes, Ram Navami. Today also, many years ago in 1975, Srila Prabhupada installed the deities, Krishna, Balaram, Radha Sunda, Sisa Gornitai, Lalita Vishaka Devi. And the temple was officially opened. It's quite amazing that, raise your hand if you've seen Krishna Balaram in Sri Vrindavan Dham and Ramanreti. You haven't? You haven't? You have or haven't? You have. Okay. So, do you know when they were first had the land and first were starting to build the temple? Of course, it was a great struggle to build the temple because it was a difficult time even to get cement, concrete, very, very, very difficult. And the devotees who were in charge of the construction, they weren't very experienced in working in India, and things can be a little bit tricky when you're trying to organize things and purchase things, especially in those days in India. Do you know, even when we first arrived in Vrindavan in 1983, you couldn't make a phone call. You couldn't call Mathura. You couldn't, what to speak of calling Delhi, what to speak of calling a foreign country. You couldn't even, you had to go to Delhi for that, to make that, and go to the airport. Palam, it was called at that time. It's very simple. But things were so inexpensive that to get a rickshaw to Loy Bazaar at that time cost 1 rupee and 25 paisa. Now it's maybe 200 rupees if you, and the rickshaw sellers are sold anyway if you don't want to pay. It was a different time, but it was a wonderful time too. It wasn't crowded at that time. And there are 3 devotees who Srila Prabhupada put, who were in charge, even before there was, just when there was the land. There were Surab Prabhu, and there was Gunanava Prabhu, who became the temple president, and Smarahari Prabhu. And it was so austere living there that probably none of us could have tolerated it. And interestingly enough, Sarab, who has passed away from this world, he did the design of Krishna Balaram Mandir. He did the design of the Jew temple, Radharas Bihari's temple. And I met him in Hong Kong. He was very, very ill, very sick. And we tried to convince him, I'm not sure. He was thinking that the cure he was taking was curing him, but we could see it wasn't curing him. So we tried to gently suggest that maybe he should go to Vrindavan and prepare. It was a better place to leave this world than Hong Kong. Although one great devotee, who the only Chinese disciple of Srila Prabhupada named Yasomati Sutta Prabhu, he was such an incredibly strong devotee. And when he was in his 20s, he was working at a very responsible job, working for I believe in Hong Kong, the electrical company. And he was already chanting. And Prabhupada had come to Hong Kong in 1974. And I told Prabhupada, there's one Chinese gentleman who I wanted him to meet. And it was Yasomati Sutta Prabhu. Before, his name was Young Pakhe. And so, but he was only like 25 years old or 26 years old, very intelligent, very fixed, very determined. So but I told Prabhupada again that there was one Chinese gentleman I wanted him to meet Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was expecting someone older, elderly. So when I brought him in, Prabhupada said, "Where is the Chinese gentleman?" And then I explained. And then in the talking, Prabhupada spoke to him. And then Young Pakhe said to Prabhupada, there's a problem that we Chinese people are very attached to our families. Now, maybe they're the only people who are attached to their families. I don't know, but maybe there are some others also. But anyway, he said that to Prabhupada, and I was expecting Prabhupada to answer in a somewhat diplomatic way that it's whatever position, even if you're attached to your family, there's no impediments for becoming Krishna conscious. Jai Satchidananda, Hare Krishna Prabhu. But Prabhupada didn't answer in that way at all. He answered saying, it is natural to be attached to your families. This is speaking to this young man who more or less just started chanting. It is natural to be attached to your families. Even dogs and cats and birds are attached to their families. And and Prabhupada knew who he was speaking to. This person was very fixed. So, in any case, there are many things, wonderful things I could say about this devotee, but he just recently passed away. He was so fixed that all day long, for months and months and months and months, all day long, maybe even years, because his illness was gradually progressing. He would just listen to Prabhupada's lectures and Prabhupada singing all day long, all day long. So he left this world. In Hong Kong, there were devotees chanting. They placed tulsi leaves upon his lips, Ganga water upon his head, a garland from Sisi Gornitai, and he left this world. So if one is surrounded by devotees, affectionate devotees, and one is strong and gets the assistance of the devotees, it is wonderful everywhere. Every place is turned into the spiritual world. But I was also saying about those three devotees. Does anyone remember the names of those three devotees who lived in very austere conditions? Who was one of them? And when they're the only ones who Prabhupada said, you stay here and build the temple. Yeah, do you remember one? Surab Prabhu. And? Gunardava Prabhu, who lives in Australia now, and the third one was Smadahari Prabhu. So in any case, when I had gone to Hong Kong to try, I was going there because Prabhupada once told me that when you're traveling, you should stop in Hong Kong. So I went. I try to go there. So I went there and I saw Surab Prabhu, and he was telling me about the early days. It was so austere. There was no water practically. There was no proper food practically. And he was telling me about the water conditions and how an animal had died in the water tank, the drinking water tank, and it sounded so austere. And then he said, those were the best days of my life. Because there's such a sweetness in service. There's such a sweetness in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Those were the best days of my life. And then quite soon after that, he went to Vrindavan, and maybe 2 days after he arrived, he left this world. So very special. So no service ever goes in vain. No service to Srila Prabhupada or his followers or to wonderful deities goes in vain. Krishna protects either this way or that way. But today, on this wonderful day, I wanted to speak about Lord Ram. And there was a verse that we ended up putting up. Who was the devotee who wrote the verse on the board? Huh? Yeah. Thank you. So steady, doing it day after day, month after month, year after year, serving in this way. So because we have a limited amount of time, and there's, of course, unlimited amount of things to say about Lord Ram, I'm just going to read the verse, and I'll tell you why I chose this verse to read, because it's not, Lord Ram's name isn't even mentioned. You can follow along if you can see it. Evam viharai komarai. This is in the 11th chapter of the 10th canto, which describes Krishna's childhood pastimes, how he was a young boy and playing with his friends. Before this, of course, was chapter 10. And in chapter 10, the mood is quite different because it's just ending Krishna's, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the way that the 10th canto is organized, first Krishna is born, is Vasudeva Krishna born in Mathura. Then the next chapters up to chapter 8 are very much about his, or up to 10, very much about his baby pastimes. And the main servants or the main devotees who interact with him are Yashoda Maya and Nanda Baba. And then, starting in chapter 11, then Krishna is old enough to start playing with his friends. And at the end of this chapter, right before the next chapter, which is obviously chapter 12, which describes Aghasura Leela, there's a wonderful verse in the last chapter, the end of the final verse in the chapter 11, and this is it. Evam viharai komara. So in this way, by Krishna's different childish pastimes in Komara, this age of Komara, Komaram Jator Braje, Krishna and Balaram, they passed their time in Braja, in Vrindavan. Viharai means by their different pastimes, by their different playing. And what did they do while they were playing? Nilayanai Setubandaya. They were playing hide and seek in different games. And if one has even a little understanding of the way that these boys played, it was always changing and always fun. And sometimes the boys would be friends with this one, and sometimes the boys would be fighting with that one, and they'd be playing this game and that game and this game and that game and this game and that game. It's just a continuous flow of playing. This is what all young boys like, actually. Just continuously the flow of playing. But Krishna, with his friends, with Balaram, they played hide and seek, but Setu Bandai, they constructed Setu Banda, a bridge. And Marketo Plalava Divya, they constructed a bridge in Marketo, and they played like monkeys, which also young boys tend to do. They played like monkeys, jumping here and here, and they constructed a Setubandhu, a bridge. Now, whose pastimes are they playing there? They're playing the pastimes of Sri Ram. Sri Ram and Lakshman and all the monkeys, and crossing the bridge and playing and picking up sticks and attacking Ravana's kingdom, just playing the pastimes of Ram. And interestingly enough, this is one of the only verses that I've seen in the 10th canto that is duplicated somewhere else in the 10th canto. I can't remember the exact verse, the exact place of the verse. But this verse is mentioned twice, showing, in my mind, that Krishna even loved to play the pastimes of Lord Ram. He loved to play the pastimes of Lord Ram. Why? Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, expands himself as Lord Ram, and Krishna is Lila Purushottama. He is the enjoyer of the most amazing pastimes. He is Rasaraj. He enjoys rasas in Vrindavan like nowhere else. But yet, he still likes to play the pastimes of Lord Ram. Because even though in one sense there is no difference between Krishna, Yashodanandana, Nandanandana, Krishna and Ram, still, Lord Ramachandra, there are still some differences. Now, the basic difference is Krishna, his full personality is manifested. The absolute truth, Bhagavan, the Param Brahma, the Satyam Param, the supreme absolute truth, the person, he manifests his full personality. He does whatever he wants. He plays, and his play is the enjoyment that he experiences, giving ecstasy to his devotees in the different rasas that are available in Vrindavan, in Braja, and only available in Braja. He likes to play and give ecstasies to his devotees. But yet, Krishna's pastimes we cannot imitate, because he, being the transcendental absolute truth, he doesn't have to follow any rules or regulations. He doesn't have to set any example for others to follow, because he's exhibiting what it is, what the true absolute nature is of the absolute truth of the Param Satyam. But on the other hand, again, have an uncontrollable urge to talk and play, I think that's okay, because how old are you? 7, because that's a good age, and it's natural. But it's better to like sit a little further back then. Okay. What's your name? Wow. Where did you get that name? Where did you get it? How do you know? You don't know how you know. Good Brahmin boy. So when the people of this world see some of the activities of Krishna, they may want to imitate them, but they cannot, because the activities of the people in this world, in the world of the conditioned life, they're here for a specific purpose, to elevate their consciousness. And they have to follow rules and regulations to elevate their consciousness. They can't just do whatever they want, right? You can't just do whatever you want. But Krishna, he does whatever he wants. And sometimes what he wants to do is quite naughty. He steals butter. He goes to the houses of the cowherd, neighbors, all the ladies, and sometimes he lets the calves out. And then when the ladies and the gentlemen, the gopas and the gopis who live in the house, they have to go and get the calves back. Because what will the calves do? They'll go to their mothers and drink all the milk. And Krishna's just watching. And when they leave the houses to get the calves back, Krishna goes inside their storeroom and he steals butter. And sometimes he even feeds it to the monkeys. He doesn't steal because he's hungry or forlorn in some way. He just actually trying to exchange rasas, sweet exchanges with the gopas and gopis next door, and they're watching him. They're watching him. Sometimes they watch him and they catch him. You've stolen butter, haven't you? We've caught you now, you butter thief. And Krishna will sometimes go, oh, please don't tell my mother. And he'll fall down, I beg you, I'll never do it again. Until tomorrow. He's so naughty. And sometimes when they catch him stealing butter, he'll say things like, you've caught you. And Krishna will say, well, this is my house anyway. I own everything. And he'll just ignore them. He's so naughty. And sometimes he dances with the wives of others in the middle of the night, which we cannot imitate at all. Actually, once I was in Bangladesh, and some members of another religious path, they came to me and said, how could you worship a God who dances with the wives of others in the middle of the night? They had no understanding that Krishna is transcendental and the rules and regulations are meant to elevate our consciousness, and he's the Supreme Lord. And this is all on the transcendental platform. It's not on the material platform. And you shouldn't even think about these things because you have no idea and don't enter into. But he doesn't set the perfect example that human beings can follow so that they can elevate their consciousness, so that they can live a pure and peaceful sattvic life, and thereby use their human life, their human birth, to gain the greatest gain, which is Krishna Prema, or advance spiritually. So Krishna, who is in the words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he's the transcendental autocrat. That means he's the boss. He's the supreme boss. Does anyone know how to say boss in Cantonese, by the way, in Chinese. Now you'll learn your first word of Cantonese. It's lo ban. Lo ban. So sometimes to set the perfect example and to enjoy, Krishna enjoys everything, and to enjoy setting that perfect example, because everything that Krishna does is enjoyable when he does it, because he's composed, he's made out of joy, out of Ananda, Satchidananda, Vigraha. He's made of ecstasy. The composition of his body is ecstasy and eternity and full knowledge. So everything he does is enjoyable. So he enjoys coming to this world to set the perfect example so that everyone can follow it. And when he wants to enjoy setting that perfect example, he comes as Lord Ram. He's called Maryada Purusha. The example, he sets the perfect, ideal example that if you follow this example, you're perfect, you will live perfectly in this world. I heard Prabhupada even in one morning walk that I was listening to this morning, he was talking about that we can actually be happy in this world. And for a devotee, Vishwapurna Sukhayate, he's fully happy. Although we criticize, we say the material world is dukhalayam, shashratam, nityam, asukham lokam. And it is. It's the prison house. But yet one can live here happily if one follows the directions of Krishna on how to live happily in this world. And Prabhupada, when he was speaking in this way, he said those directions are varnashrama, the ones that do one's duty according to one's karma, one's qualities, guna karma, for Bhagavata, according to one's nature. One should do one's duties in such a way that Krishna will be pleased, and the instructions, like the documentation on a computer program, they're given by Krishna in the form of Varnashrama Dharma, which are meant to organize society in that way, such a way that people will be elevated in consciousness. So Lord Ram did that. And interestingly enough, in my mind, because in knowing that Sri Ram Navami was coming, I did some reading and a little bit of study of Ramayana, just a little bit, because usually I more read the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And interesting enough that in the Bhagavatam, what canto is Lord Ram's pastimes described? 9th canto. Sukadeva Goswami says, I'm only going to describe this in summary, the pastimes of Lord Ram, because everyone already knows the pastimes of Lord Ram. So when Prabhupada was in Hawaii in 1969, and it was Ram Navami, he began to speak about the pastimes of Lord Ram. And the devotees there didn't know the pastimes of Lord Ram, so he described in brief summary the story of Lord Ram and how, and it's a very sad story. Externally, it appears like a sad story, but Lord Ramachandra nor his eternal associates can actually participate in a sad story. So externally to the material mind, when it looks at the pastimes of Lord Ram, one can think it is a very sad story. And what is the rasa that hearing the Ramayana bring out? Does anyone know what it's called? Karuna, Karunya ras. Karunya ras, which means it brings out a feeling of sadness, emotion, and compassion. that how could this happen to such wonderful persons? So the pastime, as you all know, I will speak about it a little bit, and in very brief summary, because you all know the pastimes of Lord Ram, and then we shall we'll see what we should speak about after that. There are some things I wanted to say specifically, but we know that after Lord Ram was born, and he had how many brothers? And one's name, raise your hands though, one's name was? I mean, people older than 10 can raise their hand also. Yes. Okay. Lakshman, another one? Another one? Bharat. And? The four of them. So their father's name was? Don't call out. Father's name was? Dasarath. Yes, and Dasarath, amazingly enough, he ruled his kingdom. He was the king of Kosala, and he ruled the kingdom. Does anyone know how many years he ruled for? 6,000? You just add a 0 after the 6. 60,000 years he ruled. And at the end of 60,000 years, Aniruddha Prabhu, can you imagine being the temple president for 60,000 years? There's an old Chinese curse, may you live to 1,000. Something like that, in the sense that Dasarath was very tired, and he wanted to hand over his kingdom to his dear eldest son, whose name was? But you have, okay, sometimes we could, when it comes to saying, the question asks about Ram's name, you can all, Ram, Lord, Jai Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram. So he wanted to hand over his kingdom to? Jai Sri Ram. But with a little enthusiasm, this is Ram Navami. He wanted to hand over his kingdom to? Jai Sri Ram. And he wanted to do it quickly, because there was some evil planets that were affecting him at this time, and he was having very dangerous dreams that foretold there was something terrible was going to happen. So he immediately called Lord Ramachandra, and he told them that tomorrow we'll have the coronation ceremony and you'll be crowned the king. Ramachandra. And then the preparations were being made, and the citizens of Ayodhya, they had so much love for Ram, because he was such an ideal person. He was always kind to everyone. He never wanted to cook. He was setting the perfect example. He didn't steal butter and things like that. Krishna was setting the perfect example. He was strong, he was handsome, he was married to Sita Devi, who was Lakshmi Devi. So the whole city of Ayodhya was so joyful, and they decorated the city in such a wonderful way, and they were always chanting, in great happiness. And there was just one person who wasn't happy, and that person's name was, you have to raise your hands for it, on the level of raise. Yes, in the back. Mantra. And do you know that, I mean, she's like the most unpopular person in the Ramayana, in a sense. I mean, there's also other unpopular people, such as Ravana and who else is unpopular? Suparnaka and no. You sound like one of the Vanaras. When you're Bandore. Indrijit, Kumbhakarna, so many. And who else? And who else? You all- Okay, so in any case, this mantra, but actually, she was an apsara, a heavenly personage who was sent by Indra to speed up the death of Ravan. And how she did it, not conscious what her mission was, but she began to poison the mind. She was a hunchback lady in this incarnation. It's so amazing because we all have different births, previous births, and we'll all have next births. And how we acted in the birth before our last birth brought us to this birth, and then how we act in this birth will bring us to our next birth. So mantra poison the mind of, raise your hands, of who? Kaikei. Poisoned her mind, and she said that you're so happy that Ram is being going to be installed. Don't you know that your own son, whose name is Bharat, he's going to be out of power, being thrown out by Ram, and his mother, whose name was Kaushalya, she'll be the important person, and you will be neglected and cast to the side. And she said, Kaikei said, no, Ram, he's the most wonderful. He's so even-hearted. He treats me better than he treats his own mother. He's so respectful and loving, setting the perfect example always. And Mantra said, you're so foolish. You can't see the future, but I can. So gradually, by repeating this again and again, she poisoned the mind of KK, who had previously told Mantra about a promise that Dasarath, her husband, she was the youngest wife, and Dasarath had so much affection for her. She had told Mantra about a promise that Dasarath had made when she had protected him on a battlefield and saved his life, and he had said, I'll give you whatever you want, and she said, I'll give you 2 times, I'll give you whatever you want, and she said, later on I will take it, there's nothing, I just wanted to serve you. Later on I'll take advantage of this. And now Mantra reminded her that he will fulfill any 2 promises, and I will tell you what the 2 promises that you should get him to fulfill are. One is that your son, whose name is Bharat, should be installed as the king tomorrow instead of Ram, and Ram should go to the forest for how long? 14 years. And Kaikei, at this time, her mind completely bewildered. She said, yes, this is a great plan. I'll go, and how should I execute it? And Mantra told her, you should go to, I don't know what the translation is, but it's maybe some they call it, the translation, I would call it the sulking mood, when you're in a bad mood. What do you call it? Kopaman. So you go in that room, and then, and she put on old clothes and went into that room and just lie on the ground, and she wasn't eating in any way or anything. And then naturally, her husband Dasarath heard of this, and he fell into the trap that so many husbands fall into. They say, what's wrong? And then the wife can respond, nothing. Just leave me alone. And then, no, tell me what's wrong. And she began to explain what she wanted. And Dasarath, who loved Ram so much, he said, you don't understand Ram at all. He's so good, he loves you so much, he treats you. No, and she couldn't change her mind. Sometimes he pleaded with her, he touched her feet. This is the Leela that had it transpire. And sometimes he chastised her and said, I'll never speak to you again. He couldn't change her mind. And finally he just fainted on the ground. This was a powerful king, the most powerful king. His heart was broken. And then Kaikeyi said, call for Ram. Dasarath was lying down, heartbroken, unconscious, with this terrible, evil plan. And Ram came, and he was amazing. He was ideal in every way. And Kaikeyi told him, Ram, because Dasarath, the words couldn't come out of his mouth. Kaikeyi told Ram exactly what he had to do. Go to the forest for 14 years, and my son, Bharat, will be installed as king. And Ram said, I would have preferred to hear these words directly from my father. And she said, these are your father's orders. And he said, if you would have asked me yourself, I would have done it. Yes, immediately I'll do it. And you have to leave now. He said, yes. He was displaying the perfection of obedience and detachment. The perfection of obedience. And Dasarath, even though in such a terrible situation, was displaying the perfection of one of the aspects of a king. And that aspect of a king, a kingly person, is that he has to keep his word. And if the citizens hear, I'm going to do this, they can have full confidence that it will be done. No corruption, no, well, the reason why I didn't do it was because of this and that. No, I have given my word. These words have come from my mouth. I must do it. Ideal king. Even though it may be difficult for me, I am not the center anymore. My family isn't even the center. But the center is to please the citizens. They are like my children. And that kind of a king, that kind of a ruler, he will be loved and honored by the citizens. So Dasarath was playing his part. Ramachandra was playing a perfect part too in this drama, this Leela. Ramachandra went to Kaushalya. Lakshman was there. Lakshman played the part of the perfect brother. Perfect, loyal, younger brother. No, Ram, we cannot do this. You should be the king. You have been promised to be the king. You must be the king. I am more loyal to you than anyone. I will destroy everyone if I have to. And Ram said, no, I want to please my father. I'm going to do this. They called Sita, came. Ram told her that now I have to go to the forest to please my father for 14 years. And you stay here because you're a princess. It would be difficult for you to live in the austere forest life. Your feet have never even touched the earth. You've never appeared in public or anything like that. It would be too difficult. And she just said, wherever you go, I must go. Ram said, no, it's not practical, princess. Yes, I have no life without you. The ideal husband, the ideal wife, the ideal brother, the ideal king. Bharat was called because his coronation was the next day. Again, the ideal brother. I love Ram. I will not do this. I will not do this. Ram should be the king. No attachment to position or power. It's a matter of duty and service and pleasing he who is supposed to be pleased. Nowadays, if one happens to see a movie or something like that which is so influential on the mind, or read a book, there's never, practically speaking, there's never any characters who set the kind of example that we want our children to follow. And we are following ourselves because actions speak louder than words. But in almost every Indian family of years ago, this was the culture that was passed down. Mahabharata, Ramayana, told by the grandparents. Raise your hand if you've heard the stories of Mahabharata and Ramayana told by your grandparents instead of, okay, not everyone, but generations ago, it was really like that. But now you ask people, where did you first see the Mahabharata? And they tell you the videos or something like that or something like that. But this is how culture is passed down. This is such an honorable way to pass down the culture, where the stories, because everyone loves good stories, but the stories have deep messages on how to live an ideal life, the proper moral way to live in this world, so that one has character, sattva gun, one has virtue, lives in goodness, ideal life in every respect. So Ram went to the forest, and Bharat had no desire to be the king, but to please Ram, he did it. And he had Ram put his feet in some shoes, Ram's shoes. And the only way Bharat would do it is if his mood was that I'm going to rule just as the servant of your shoes. I'm going to rule just as the servant of your shoes. I will not live in the palace. I will live outside. Young man, do you want to stay or do you want to leave? You make a choice right now. Are you sure? Then act like you want to stay. It's either stay or play. That's a good one, isn't it? Stay or play. Make a choice, not both. If you want to play, ciao. Okay? Bharat said his food, as it turned out, what he would eat, he maintained his body for those 14 years, eating barley cooked in cow urine, so austere. He didn't cut his hair. He didn't live in the palace. He lived outside of Ayodhya in an ashram, completely austerely, but ruling, serving, in a mood of service to Ram. Ideal example. Not the details exactly that we can follow, but the ideal example of detachment from one's selfish desires in the mood of service to the Lord. Then finally, when Rama was leaving, he distributed all his wealth. He didn't want to say, well, anyway, I'll live poorly now in the forest, austerely, but when I get back, I have my big treasury, so I don't have to worry about it. My retirement fund, super. It wasn't like that. If he's going to live in the forest, he lived in the forest, depending on the Lord. And as the king, depending on the Lord too. He distributed all his wealth. He got in the chariot, and the whole city of Ayodhya followed him. Out of their love for this perfect, the Supreme Lord, and the perfect example that he was following. I wanted to just read a little directly from here about what it was like. There's so many different levels on this, but this level is a wonderful level of the ideal example. So he slept in the forest. The king slept in the forest just on some leaves. And the next morning, when he awoke, he saw that citizens of Ayodhya, they were all sleeping nearby. Just see how much the citizens love us, Lakshman said. And Rama said, they will not give up their determination to follow me, and they will try to bring me back to Ayodhya. They have completely forgotten their homes and families. This is so much like the residents of Vrindavan and their love for Krishna. Forget the ideal example that everyone's following. They're following the example of ideal citizens. But aside from that, they love him as the residents of Vrindavan love Krishna. They have completely forgotten their homes. They've completely forgotten their families. And what is Ram thinking? Oh, how wonderful it is that they love me. He's thinking they should not be burdened by Kaikeyi's curse. Let us leave before they awaken. Devising a plan, he told Lakshman, let Sumantra, the minister who was driving the chariot, drive the chariot in such a way that the citizens will become confused and they will be unable to follow us any further. His plan was not thinking about how can I extract something from the citizens, but how I can protect the citizens from any kind of suffering. So they crossed the river Tamasa, and Rama instructed Sumantra to drive the chariot on a clearly visible path while taking evasive, tricky measures that would mislead the citizens, and then he would return. Sumantra then drove off, and when he returned, sometime later, Rama, Lakshman, and Sita mounted the chariot and proceeded quickly down another path into the forest. When the citizens awoke, they looked in all directions for their beloved Lord, and searching desperately here and there, they found the tracks of the chariot wheels. But after some distance, the tracks suddenly stopped. And unable to determine which way to go, the people just gazed into the distance, tears falling from their eyes. This is the natural relationship between the citizens and the king, the ruler. King cares for all the citizens, including the residents, the animals, protects them with his own life. No selfishness, and the citizens naturally desiring such a king have so much love and affection for him. The people gazed into the distance, not knowing where to go to find Ram. They wept. With Ram gone, the people reproached themselves. They criticized themselves. How can we return to Ayodhya without Ram? What will the women and children say when we fail to bring him back? What is the use of living here without the beautiful moon-like face of Lord Ramachandra? What is the use of a husband or children or even life itself? What good are household pleasures without the daughters of King Janaka and the lotus-eyed Ram? With no alternative, the citizens returned to Ayodhya, feeling extremely depressed. When the household women saw that the men had returned without Ram, they criticized them with cruel, harsh words. Many simply sat down and wept. Due to shock, some of them were incapable of speaking or even hearing. Everyone in Ayodhya began condemning Kaikeyi, swearing they would never live under her rule. Thus life in Ayodhya came almost to a standstill. No one could do anything. It appeared like the great water of the ocean had dried up. The Brahmins neglected their duties. The shopkeepers gave up conducting business. Householders no longer took the time to prepare meals. And the domestic animals, even the animals who were living in the houses of the people, they wouldn't chew the grass that was given to them for their own food because Ram had left. The cows would not give milk to their calves, and mothers no longer felt happiness in greeting their sons. And even the stars in the sky assumed a stern, harsh aspect. Feeling tormented with grief, no one in Ayodhya could eat or engage themselves in entertainment. Indeed, everyone appeared to be almost lifeless, being absorbed in feelings of separation from Ram. This is a terrible place to end the class. Everyone feeling sad for Ram, so I won't exactly end here. Perhaps this evening there's a class where we'll talk about something more joyous, Ram's return into Ayodhya after the 14 years were over. But I wanted to say another thing, maybe two other things. When Sita, this one's a more instructive and also upbeat, that when Sita was finally told while she was in the Ashok Grove that Lord Ramachandra had killed Ravana, and now he had given her a message. Who told Sita that? Raise your hand if you know. Who told Sita? Who told Sita? Yes. Who? No. Who told Sita in the Ashok Grove in Lanka? Sona Lanka? No. Who gave the news to Sita? Hanuman. Jai Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram. And Hanuman told her that news, and then he said to her that these Rakshasis have tortured you for years and years and years. If you want, I will kill them all right now. Just give me the order. And Sita Devi responded in such an ideal and instructive way. And this is what she said. They were just following Ravana's orders. It is not their fault. We should not respond with evil, with more evil. And then she told a story that once there was a hunter. Now you boys listen to this. Okay? Well, you were listening. There was once a hunter. You know what a hunter is? Hunters are somewhat cruel. But he was being chased by a tiger. And he climbed up a tree. And in the tree was a bear. And bears are ferocious. So the tiger, who could speak, said to the bear, that hunter, is the enemy of both of us. He kills tigers, he kills bears. You throw him down to me and I'll eat him. And the bear said, this is Sita speaking to Hanuman. The bear said, he could barely speak. No, he could speak very well. The bear said, he has come for shelter in my home. This would be improper for me to treat him in not a welcoming way. I won't do it. And then he went back to sleep. And then the tiger said to the hunter, this bear is sleeping now. You throw him from the tree and I'll eat him. And I promise I'll spare you. And the hunter said, okay. So he went up to the sleeping bear and he pushed him and threw him off the tree. But the bear held onto a branch and he saved himself. Then the tiger turned to the bear and said, do you see what he just did? You wanted to protect him, and he threw you off the branch of the tree just to please me, to protect himself. You throw him down. He acted evilly. He acted unvirtuously. He didn't reciprocate with your kindness. And the bear said, a great person will not do such a thing. A great person never takes into account the sins or the inappropriate actions even of a person who has offended him. Instead, at all costs, he keeps his vow never to return evil for evil, knowing that good conduct is the ornament, the decoration of a virtuous person. What do you think about that bear? He could bear any difficulty, but he would not retaliate. He thought, this is my bad karma. Tatenu kampam susimiksamano. This is what Sita said. It is my bad fortune due to things I've done in previous lives that this has happened to me. I only want to I want to act goodly. This is my responsibility, to act for the benefit of all. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram. Would anyone like to tell some short and in a few words their favorite pastime of Lord Ram? The one that I didn't mention? Would anyone like to say something about Lord Ram? Someone who heard from their grandparents even can say something. Someone? Did you hear from your grandparents? Okay. What would you like to say about Ram? But it has to be short, because we're going to ask other devotees to speak.
Okay. So, once,
What really inspires you about Lord Ram's activities?
so it really inspired me how Lord Ram, when my grandmother told me about how the Lord arranges everything. So when the Shivalingam that Ravana stole, but Lord had arranged it in such a way that it just stayed where it was, and Ravana could not lift it. So that's why I got inspired, and I learned that the Lord will always arrange everything for you, no matter what you try to do. Even if you steal the Shivalingam from Lord Shiva, Lord will always try to
Protect.
Protect.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to say one of their favorite inspiring? Yes, Prabhu. You have to, because it would take a while for the microphone to get there. Okay.
I like the story of the incident of boatman.
Of?
The boat. I like the incident of this, the boatman, the one who, when Ram wanted to cross the river, he refuses to take any payment for saying that we are both equal. Says one boatman doesn't take from other boatman.
And what sense did he mean that?
Means
How
Lord
is Rama boatman?
Yeah, Lord Rama is actually taking us from this material world to the spiritual world. So, ocean of material world to spiritual world.
Jai Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram. Thank you. Anyone else? Wait, I'd like some of the adults. Oh, you're so desirous. Yes, Prabhu. It's hard to resist calling you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class.
No. You're supposed to tell story about Ram.
Yes. So, I heard this beautiful pastime when Sri Ram is walking through the forest and the thorns are, sometimes stuck at Lord's lotus feet. But he wouldn't remove those thorns. And the commentary is that the reason Lord would remove those thorns is because he has said, whoever takes shelter of mine, I will never abandon them.
My feet, maybe even.
Yeah, Lord's lotus feet. So even Lord would not remove the thorns from his own lotus feet. So that was very inspiring.
Wonderful, thank you. Anyone else? Oh, now it's getting very difficult. But I wanted to ask one of the Matajis, if one of the Matajis would like to say something about Lord Ram, a story that inspires them, or Sita, or Ram, or anything from Ramayana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. One of the pastime which I liked that really inspires me as a couple is when Mother Sita had to go to exile during her pregnancy. After that, Sri Ramchandra ji also left all the all the lifestyle of king. He was also he was also living the life of a kind of sannyasi, the way Mother Sita was living. So he teaches us that the partner has to understand the situation of the partner and also live the way the partner is living. It's like supporting the partner and always, and as a king he has to follow his responsibilities also, but as a partner also he was doing his duty.
Yes, thank you. Ideal in all respects. Yes, one more Mataji, and then we'll go in the realm of these great souls surrounding me, my friends. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I thought in the morning, because usually I listen to the Hanuman Chalisa, so I think it's Hanuman's devotion.
A little bit louder, please, and a little slower, please.
Yeah. So just Hanuman's devotion, and Ramji's reciprocation to that devotion throughout the Ramayana, and the way he's always been so supportive of him, respectful of him for his just unconditional love and devotion for them. I think it's something which is very heart-touching.
Yes, devotion, very heart-touching. Okay, we need the microphone here, quickly. Otherwise, don't just be able to. Unless you want to stand up and speak without the microphone. Oh, here, we have another one. Okay, stand up. No, you don't want to stand up.
I like the pastime when like Angada came to Ravana's palace, and then he was like, if you just give Sita back to Ravan, and then give Sita back to Lord Ram. So and then Lord Ram had also said, Angad also said that Lord Ram is so merciful. Like if you just take shelter of him, yeah, he'll forgive you. So like it's really inspiring that he has unconditional mercy.
Oh, I want to end it, but I can't resist. I'll tell my little story. That when Bibhishan when he gave Ravan good advice, and Ravan sent him away. So he, being very powerful, flew all the way to where Ram's armies were. And he stayed in the sky and said that he wanted to see Ram. And even Ram's, maybe even Hanuman, but all the monkey warriors said, be careful, be careful. He could be a spy, and he's here to do bad things. Be careful, be careful. Let's not let him see Ram. And then Ram said a verse. When they came to Ram and said, he's come to take shelter of you, Ram, Lord Ram, but he could be a spy. He's, after all, a Rakshasa. And Ram said, Sakrit eva papanas tvam. You know it? Tavazmi Chayachate Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai Dadam Yetad Vritamama. Now this is very important, so please listen. It is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ram's reply that he may be a spy, even though he's saying he may take shelter of you. Ram replied to all those doubts, if a person even one time says sincerely, I am yours, Tavazmi Chayachate, praise, I am yours, I will forever give that person fearlessness at all times and all places. Just wait one moment. Because there's a little more. Vratamama, this is my vow. So now everyone, face Sisi Balava, Sisi Ponatai, and Sisi Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, and see if you can find the most deepest, sincerest part of you, and maybe Tavazmi, I am yours. And if one could say that with some sincerity, I am yours, please protect me, I am your servant, please engage me in your service. We know the character of the Lord. Tadam yitad vritam mama. Make a very sincere prayer now. Krishna. Shri Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Nothing can block our vision of a of glorious Radha Ballava. One more time. Jai Sita!